So, boys, draft weekend is over, and I've got some thoughts on the Falcons draft. Obviously, Falcons headlined pretty big in the first round with drafting Michael Penix. It was very hard to watch my team get blasted like the whole night. It was not a fun night. It was not a fun night after they picked. But I would say the draft did start picking up after the first round. But I just want to get into my draft grade for the Atlanta Falcons. First, I'm going to get into going through each pick from round 1 all the way to round 6, because I think that's where we had our last pick, and basically just give a pros and cons on how I felt about this draft class. So in round 1 with pick 8, my Atlanta Falcons picked Michael Penix from Washington. Probably the biggest surprise of the night, I'm not going to lie. It was, I got my reaction recorded, but I'm not sharing it because I was under the influence. Definitely going to have that one saved until he starts. Round 2, Falcons actually moved up in the draft to get Rook Orororo from Clemson. And then in the third round, with the 74th pick, the Falcons picked up Braylon Trice from Washington. And their last pick in the 150 range, they picked up JD Bertrand from Notre Dame. Now that we went over who they picked in the draft, let's go over the pros and cons of this draft class. Make sure you stay to the end to see what I rate this Falcons draft class. So first of all, we're going to start off with the pros. And to start off with the pros list, my first pro from this draft class is that the Falcons really focused on our pass rush issue. I really enjoyed the Braylon Trice and Brandon Dorlus pickups. Brandon Dorlus actually led all defensive tackles in pressure since 2021, which is pretty nice to get him with pick 109. And actually, Braylon Trice was mocked in the first round at the start of the year, so honestly, getting that guy in the third round was kind of nice. I know the pass rushers they picked up weren't crazy and more of developmental pieces, but it really shows that they noticed that this is an issue and that it needs to get solved. Again, in the first round, they could have addressed it by just drafting Lealtu Latu off the board, but they had other ideas instead. My second pro of this draft class is how I really like how they address the D-line depth. Don't get me wrong, Grady Jarrett and David Onyemata are perfect for the Falcons, but they are getting pretty old. I think they are both around 30 years old, and Grady Jarrett also coming off an ACL tear isn't great. And I think picking up Rook Orororo, and I also see a lot of Grady Jarrett in Rook Orororo. He's probably one of the better run defensive tackles I've seen out of the draft, and I think he was a pretty solid pickup. Also getting Douglas out there, but I honestly don't think we'll see Douglas add defensive tackle just because his weight is a little low. I wouldn't mind seeing him run out on the end. Our next pro from this draft class is that we possibly don't have to worry about a QB for the future, which has been a problem since we haven't had Matt Ryan, Desmond Ridder, Marcus Mariota, Tyler Heineke. It goes on. It's not a fun thing to worry about. So I see why Terry was ready to pull the trigger on getting Michael Penix at the top 8th pick there. And this kind of ties into my other pro of this draft class, is that we don't have to worry about getting a quarterback for next year, because we'll probably be having to get a quarterback next year if we didn't draft Michael Penix. As much as I'm not a fan with the Michael Penix pick, I do see what Terry was thinking, and I don't hate it as much as I did at the first day. Alright, those were all my pros for this draft class. Now let's get on to the cons. My first con was I understand the need of quarterback, but it's not as much of a need as we needed pass rushers. You could have easily traded down, picked up Lealtu Latu, and maybe got a quarterback in the second round. I know it probably wouldn't have been Michael Penix, but we probably could have gotten Spencer Rattler since he just went in the 4th round. It would have made more sense if we did trade down, got a second or a third pick, got Rattler. And with pass rush being such a big need for this Falcons team, I just didn't see it making sense picking a quarterback with the 8th pick when we could have easily just traded down and gotten a lot more in return. And it wasn't like there was no one willing to trade up for the 8th pick. There was actually people trying to get into the top 10 to get Michael Penix. Apparently he was probably the NFL's best kept secret, but I don't know. That's enough quarterback talk. Let's get on to the second con. My second con was giving up a 3rd round pick to get Rook Orororo. I honestly think the Falcons could have easily just stayed in their spot and got Rook Orororo. I don't mind going up and getting your guy, but giving up a 3rd round pick for a guy that probably would have been there if you didn't trade up, just kind of an L in my opinion. It would have been really nice to have that 3rd round pick. I don't hate the Rook Orororo pick. I think I would have rather Newton, but like I said, Grady Jarrett coming off an ACL tear, 30 years old. Same with David Onyemata. It's probably time to pick up another defensive tackle, and I think you did in the right spot. Just didn't have to trade up for him. Another con I had is that we didn't address corner in the draft. We could have easily got Cooper DeJean with our second round pick. Would have been nice, but hey, not all things are perfect. We could have easily got one of the top corners in the draft in the second round, but instead we picked up Ruka Rororo. Again, I don't hate that pickup, but I much rather would have gone corner there just to fill out our corner depth. And I know in free agency we could probably pick up Xavier Howard and some other vets. I would have much rather taken a corner there. And then my last con about the draft is not informing Kirk Cousins about drafting a QB. The last thing you want to do is sign someone to a 4-year, $180 million deal and not tell him we're probably drafting his replacement with the 8th pick in the draft. I think it's kind of crazy with the situation the Falcons are in right now. We're a very win-now team, and I'm sure Kirk Cousins noticed that. We are a very win-now team, so him going into the draft thinking, oh, I'm going to get some new guys to throw the ball to or protect me, and we go out and draft his replacement in the next 2 or 3 years. I just think that's kind of crazy, and not letting him know about it, I don't know. I just wish that next time we were more open with him, just so it doesn't stir up as much controversy as it did on draft night. And I'm sure it didn't feel good for Michael Penix being like, oh damn, like no one really wanted me. Like that just probably doesn't feel the greatest. And those were my pros and cons about this draft class. In the end, I'm going to give this draft class grade a B. And my favorite pick in this draft class is Braylon Trice. If there's any other Falcons fans watching this, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this draft class, what you liked, what you don't like, who's the steal of the draft. Let me know. Rebuilds will be returning shortly. I'm just thinking of a video to post while I wait for the rosters to get updated I was just thinking of a video to post while I wait for the Madden shared rosters to get updated. So I thought I'd have some fun and post a video like this. Let me know what rebuilds you guys want to see in the future. Thank you so much, boys. Have a good day.